Hey guys, so I'm in my car right now and it's not like the best setup, but I felt the need to give you an ascension update right now as we go into this eclipse on Monday, because things are really intense right now and I'm feeling it. I know others are feeling it. I've seen some volatile behavior in people the last few days, like I have a really keen sense of the energy shifts and where it's headed and what the collective is experiencing. And from, I've said this before, but I'll say it again because I think repetition, sometimes it takes repetition for for a light bulb to go off for people. So everything we experience in our personal life is a microcosm of the macrocosm. Okay, so like even our bodies are like smaller models of like the cosmos. Okay, so if you wake up one morning and things are just off, like you're trying to go about your day, you're trying to run some errands, and then this thing happens, and then this thing happens. Well, that you can go ahead and realize that what's happening to your morning is also happening on a much grander scale. Okay, and so I've told people this before, like, be careful today because the energy is really wonky, it's really out there. And sometimes people will be like, well, how did you know? Oh my god, it is crazy. People are crazy today. Like, how did you know? You told me that this morning. Well, because I am an observer. That's one of my main roles here, is like I'm constantly taking in data and making making conclusions about the energy and where it's heading, where it's going. So the last few days have been really hard. People have been very volatile. I shouldn't say everyone, not everyone, but I've seen a few people just literally like throw up on me, and that's because they're feeling pressure from these energies. And a lot of times a person who's conscious or has a higher frequency becomes a catalyst for them to explode and let some things go, release some things that are going on inside of them. And I've kind of played that role for people my whole life, so I recognize it when I see it or when I experience it. And there's other people who have, sorry, again, I always say I'm my own camera person. Okay, and again, there's people who have played that role for me, so I know it when it's happening, or after the fact that it's happened. I realize what just happened was they were a catalyst for me to let go of some things. And it's really beautiful how we play those roles for each other, actually, even though it seems horrible when we're in the midst of it. But later on, in retrospect, it's really amazing how we are all helping each other, literally. Like, even things that seem insignificant, or an argument or whatever, like at the highest level, even the arguments that we have are there's a love there of like that argument pushed you forward somehow. It grew you, it helped you release. And so that's how you can look back and even thank people who you feel like did you wrong, because you weren't a victim. There are no victims. You choose to have these experiences with everyone in order to grow for your soul's lessons. And even though those lessons seem horrible and we get into this victim mentality, the truth is, if this stuff wouldn't have happened to you, you wouldn't have been able to go deeper. You wouldn't have had the motivation to question what was happening, right? Unless your reality got shattered or your expectations got shattered, then you wouldn't go deeper into yourself and come into a deeper communion with the divinity inside of you, and you grow in self-love that way. So that is a tangent I just got off on, but anything that comes out of my mouth when I make these videos, I consider meant to be. So there's that. Let me discuss some of the symptoms I'm feeling. I just got my nails done in a salon, and I brought in a large iced coffee, and I went to take a sip of it and sit it back on the little table beside the chair, and I literally like let it go, and it just exploded all over the guy that was doing my nails in the next chair, and it was a huge mess. And it was one of those moments where I was just like, what? Like, it was so confusing to me, because I swear I just like sat it right on the table, and it's like it slipped through my hands, and not even 15 minutes later I went to pick up my phone, and my phone just flew out of my hands and into the basin where you put your feet. Now luckily he had drained the water, so my phone didn't fall into the water, but everyone was just like looking at me like, oh my god, you know, there's like 2 things that I've done to just totally disrupt this place. And of course, you know, I didn't do it intentionally, but I felt bad. I felt a little disruptive. But again, I knew it wasn't me just not being mindful. Like, there's something more happening. Like, there's something happening to my physical body is what I'm saying. And some of you might be experiencing this as well. When I woke up this morning, I just went like this for some reason to my face, and my face felt different. Like, my skin and my nose felt different to me, and then I went like this to my hands, and my hands felt different. Like, they felt thicker but lighter. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but it's just, there's such crazy energy in the air right now, and it's transforming our physical bodies into our light bodies. So, and this is something that's never been done before. This has never been done before on a grand scale. What we are accomplishing, a mass ascension of souls, of a collective and a planet together. This is amazing what we're accomplishing, but because it's never been accomplished before, we don't know exactly how some of this is going to feel. Like, even for me, even for someone, I've ascended before, I've gone to the higher dimensions before, and now I'm back, and I came back, volunteered to come back in a lower dimension along with several other higher consciousness beings in order to help a whole planet ascend and help a lot of beings have their very first ascension while in a physical body. Okay, so yes, there's a lot of it that like seems very familiar to my soul as I go through this, but there's some things that are just like, what the fuck, you know, like me feeling my fingers today, and I have pretty long skinny fingers, and they just felt like, you know, I hate saying this because I'm vegan, but they felt like a thick sausage. Okay, a vegan sausage. And I was like, what the fuck? And I was, you know, I just woke up, so I was kind of still out of it. But then I realized as I went to the salon, I was trying to pick up things that I just don't feel my body the same. Okay? And I don't want to start crying because I know that it's a happy thing, it's a good thing, but it's a little bit of it's kind of a scary thing. To be honest, it's a little scary because, you know, I don't see other people going through this consciously very much around me. And so I don't have a lot of people to discuss these symptoms with. But I know people are going through them, but most of what the way that I know that people are going through them is because I read their stuff online, okay, or I see their videos. I don't know too many people personally who, I know a few, so I'm very grateful, like my friend Brian, in Texas now. Hi, Brian. You know, and a couple others, but you know, it's kind of scary because if you were to tell... Okay, my phone got too hot where I had set it, so I'm gonna have to hold it in order to finish this, but so yeah, I'll wrap it up. I have no idea how frustrating it is sometimes, like, only have your iPhone and so yeah, it's a little scary, it's a little unsettling because we don't know exactly what, you know, what's gonna happen. It's unprecedented, but I know it's headed someplace good. The other thing I want to say is my heart, okay, and I had seen this, I had read this in a channeled message before, but this energy is penetrating us, and this energy is very intense levels of light, which is love. They're synonymous, okay? So you, like, it can be painful, you know? Like, I'm a very loving person. I think my heart chakra is pretty open, but this is calling me to a new level of openness that is kind of painful because we have certain guards up out of survival here, right? Out of necessity. We're not a race or a collective here yet that understands how to live with complete openness and love. So out of necessity, a lot of times we are protecting ourselves. I feel like this is gonna get hot again. Damn it. It's just so frustrating because, like, it's so frustrating when you have things you want to share, but you feel like the platform is not working for you, and you don't want to drive people crazy with the camera shifting and stuff. But if you just bear with me, I guess if you're still watching this, you're someone who is getting the message regardless, so that's good. And I don't know why it's all like white right now. So it's going to penetrate us. It's gonna break us open further. It can be very unsettling too to not feel like you have a good control over your emotions. What I was told in this channeling that I read that spoke to me just a few days ago, and it's so funny, you know, I always get the information before I need it. Because it's a preparation for me as well, and then whatever level I'm at, I try to share with others who, before they go through it. That's how it works. We're all helping each other. We all have a specific role and a specific level. Okay? So what the message said was to allow it. Okay? It said that the energy was going to break your heart open, penetrate you in the heart. Now, I know some of you watching this maybe think that this is dramatic or you've never experienced this, but if you've never experienced a heart chakra opening, it's quite humbling. Humbling is a good word for it. It makes you feel very open and very vulnerable. And part of our conditioning, our social conditioning, is to resist, right? Whenever someone is making you feel uncomfortable, or whenever there's too much, you feel too much emotion, you feel too much, you feel too vulnerable, the first thing you want to do is like shut down and hide it, okay? Because you don't want to be embarrassed, you don't want to be vulnerable. But we have to get past that. That's why I'm making myself make this video, and I'm not trying to censor it, because this is what is happening on this planet. We are experiencing a heart opening, okay? We're experiencing a collective heart opening. This energy that's coming is like a tsunami of love. It's a tsunami. And it has been coming in increments for a long time for those of us who would allow the energy to come into us, and that would be open to it, and that would allow it to transform us so that we could share it with the world. And it's been really hard. It's been really, really fucking hard to feel that much in a world that is very closed. But we've done it. We haven't always done it perfectly, but we've been willing to be those people, to be the forerunners. The reason being is because a lot of people that this is their first ascension, they're not going to be able to, I have to hold the phone because if it gets too hot again, it's going to go out, and this sun is brutal. So it's also really hard to put things into words right now because it's such high level shit, you know? It's easy enough for a child to understand. It's just that at a certain point, words, human language doesn't seem sufficient. But we have to try, right? We have to try. So, for people who have never ascended before, or who have been very closed so far in their life, this energy that's coming is going to break you open. Don't be afraid. It's going to make you feel things that you haven't felt before, or that you haven't allowed yourself to feel in a long time. It's going to bring things to the surface that you haven't dealt with, that you haven't resolved, okay? It could be out of nowhere. A memory of something comes up and it starts to trigger you or cause your heart to break or open or ache or something. And you might think you're going crazy because you haven't even thought of this thing in forever, and how could this be related to anything, right? You've dealt with that. Don't resist it, because that thing is coming up for clearing. These energies, they go deep. They go very, very, very deep into the subconscious, into our cells, and they push out things that are a lower frequency. Anything you haven't resolved, or anything you're holding on to that you haven't forgiven someone of, all feelings of unworthiness, so much. We have so much that we don't even know, because we just have to keep going and survive. We have to keep working and focusing on things, and we don't have, we're not, they don't, that's part of the system, is not allowing us the time for the self-growth. But you have to take the time. You have to find it somehow. You have to say no to things that don't matter. Even some things that do matter, because your growth, your evolution right now, your ascension is what matters the most. And you have to prioritize it. Because if you don't, no one else will. This world will never prioritize, right? You know, in the dimension that we're leaving, will not prioritize your ascension. You have to take it. You have to stop things. You have to give away things. You have to maybe take a different job. You have to do this, because this is why you're here. It's not, none of it matters. There's no job that you can get, or a certain amount of money that you can make, or anything that you can buy that is ever gonna fill that hole. You're here. The only thing that's gonna fill it is your soul, is your soul's growth, is you prioritizing and acknowledging your true self, which is your spirit, okay? So you have to make it a priority. You have to take it in this world. I've taken it. I've refused, you know? I've refused to give away my spirit to, you know, I've refused. If something is too offensive to my spirit, it has to go. It doesn't matter if it's a job, a place, a person. None of it. It doesn't matter. It's all expendable to me. That's why I can stand here now and tell you these things. It's been extremely hard won. Sometimes people look at me and they say, oh, I wish I had your life. It looks so easy. It looks so fun. It looks so adventurous. I'm sure that it does to some degree, but you don't know the things that I have to give up. You don't know the, you know, the sacrifices that I have to give up. The things that I've even given up my own, you know, it's all about ego. You just give it up. Your own view of yourself, so to speak. I don't know how to explain that. But you get a true view of yourself, but you give up what the world tells you is supposed to be successful. I don't know if that even makes sense. I really don't even know if that makes sense, but I've given up my identity as Carrie in a physical body. And that's a really hard thing for people to give up. You know, they're attached to this body. I like this body, don't get me wrong. I think I picked a pretty good one for this life. I love my body. I love my physicality, but I'm detached at the same time, if that makes sense. There's so many times I've just wished to be in my spirit body again, you know? Because it's so hard and there's so much that goes on in these bodies. There's a lot of pains and sufferings, and so just allow the energy to break you open, break your heart open. That's what I'm doing right now. It's like allowing it to penetrate me. After I make this, I'm probably gonna go home and hide from the world for the rest of the afternoon as much as I can. That's funny too, because people think I'm so outgoing and I make these videos, and I can be, but that's not my natural. My natural, what I really want to do is hide. What I really want to do is be alone. What I really want to do is be comfortable, okay? And to me, being comfortable is being safe in my own energy, or with my dogs, or with people I love, and not put myself out there, and not allow any sort of judgment from people, or, you know, really not, I don't even really want people looking at me, to be honest. I mean, people that don't look at you with the right intentions, even their energy is uncomfortable for me. But I refuse, because I'm a light warrior, and things need to be said. There's things I have to say that I'm not finding out there. So that's my unique message, is what's inside of me, what I came here to share with you. And right now, I have to share this with you because you might not feel it yet, but you will. And so this is me giving you the message before, just like I got the message before it happened to me. And the reason I want you to know this now is because it's only going to get more intense. I don't know what's going to happen with this eclipse. I'm not saying everything's going to change the day of the eclipse, but I am saying that this eclipse is going to dispense some sort of energy, the highest amount we've ever had yet, because it can come now, because the light quotient is high enough to where more intensity can come in. We can handle it now, and it is going to be transformational, and it is not going to leave any rock unturned, and that starts within you. So you have to make up your mind now not to be afraid, to welcome it, and to give yourself the space to integrate it, okay? And that requires rest, and it requires being alone, maybe being in nature, maybe being with your pets. But you can't run yourself ragged. You can't. It's not going to allow it. If you do choose to not stop and only focus on the 3D and keep going, you know, shit's going to happen. You're going to short circuit. You're going to manifest an illness, or you're just not going to send, okay? And all of that's fine. That's all your choice. But I'm here for the people who want to ascend. I'm here for the people who need help with this process. That's who I'm here for. That's who I'm speaking to right now. So I'm allowing it. I'm allowing it to break me open. I might shed a lot of tears today, you know, but I know whatever it is, it's so beautiful. It's such a beautiful energy, because it's just like turning you inside out and making you such a beautiful being and someone who's just indestructible. Because when you're able to stand in your emotional body in light and in love, nothing can fuck with you, because you're your true self. You are what we truly are, which is love and light. And becoming that again isn't an easy process. It's a painful process, but it's beautiful. It's very beautiful. So I'm gonna allow it, and when this tsunami of love comes even stronger, then hopefully if you watch this video, you'll remember what I said and you'll realize that nothing is wrong. This is just how it is. This is how we ascend. This is how we become light. Alright, I don't know if I'll make another one before the eclipse, but enjoy this process, you guys. Drink lots of water. The only thing I can say is rest, drink lots of water, and take salt baths with natural salts. Nothing, not table salt, but something that's actually from the earth. They make buckets of it at Sprouts and Whole Foods. Or magnesium flakes are good too, but just some kind of mineral. Get some kind of natural mineral in your bath water and soak for at least 20 minutes. It helps so much. It alleviates the achiness of the joints from these energies. It balances your minerals inside your body. It pulls out toxins. It clears your head. It makes you sleep better. It's indispensable. I think it's a gift for us right now. So thank you for listening. That's my main message, is just let it allow the energy. When you start to feel it opening you and opening your heart chakra, don't shut down. Don't self-medicate. Don't think there's something wrong with you or you're losing it. You're not. You're right where you need to be. Just stay open.